Hi there, this is your friend Anna, and the question that I've been getting the most from all of my friends is, what are we wearing? This age-old question isn't just about choosing an outfit, it's about choosing how we present ourselves to the world. I created the I Want Her Shoes podcast to dive deep into what it means to dress with intention, whether you're heading to a council meeting or just having a casual day out with your family. Join the conversation as we explore the power of personal style and the decisions that shape our public personas. Put on your favorite pair of shoes and step into my closet. Welcome back to I Want Her Shoes podcast, where we sit down with powerhouse women redefining success on their own terms, one bold step at a time. I'm your host, Anna Anisin, and today's guest is not just changing how we see style, she's changing how we see ourselves. Meet Kari Dowiak, the brilliant founder behind Memorí Eyewear, a luxury sunglasses brand handmade in Italy and exclusively handcrafted for smaller faces, just like mine as well.
Yeah.
And yes, I definitely always have like trouble with sunglasses too.
So many people do.
I could connect with you on that. That's why I really loved your story. And Kari has taken a personal frustration, as some of us have. Sunglasses never fit, and turned it into a powerful fashion movement. Congratulations, proving that great design starts with great intention. And from working with brands like Nike and Levi's to launching her own category-defining company, Kari's journey is a reminder that building a brand is as much about fit as it is about fearlessness.
Thank you.
And in this episode, we will talk about the power of niching down, designing for inclusion, breaking into a male-dominated space, and what happens when you stop waiting for permission and start creating what you wish existed. And before we dive into these details, Kari, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What brought you to Miami, and what helped shape your personal style as a founder?
Sure. Well, first off, thanks so much for inviting me on. I'm happy to be here. I don't expect any of you watching to know who I am or really know about the brand. So I'm one of those crazy people on the internet building a fashion company from zero and posting all the behind the scenes. So
I love that.
That's been kind of like the hack to our success, because posting on Instagram and TikTok and everything is free. And when you're starting from the bottom, as many eyes as you can get is, really critical. So yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh, born and raised, 32 years old. I went to school at Kent State in Ohio for fashion and international business. I then started kind of working in various levels of the fashion industry, always in buying, like fashion buying, product development. And then I ended up, after a short stint in Chicago, New York City, pandemic hit, and then I kind of started doing the digital nomad thing. Nice. Where I was working all over the world, and then I more or less settled in Miami, and it is so bright in Miami. I was walking outside and my eyes were burning out of my head. So
yeah, you kind of really need eyewear here, no matter where you go.
You need it. So my whole life I struggled where glasses never looked good on me. They didn't fit me. I didn't have the face for glasses. I always felt like I looked like a bug. But I had never dedicated a whole day with no budget to being I'm gonna buy a really beautiful pair of sunglasses. In Miami, of all places, 8 hours, I found nothing. I then settled for a $700 pair of Oliver Peoples, which Oliver Peoples is owned by Luxottica, which is that huge conglomerate. Mm-hmm. The same people that own LensCrafters and Target Optical are making these $700 Oliver Peoples frames, but they were the only ones that fit, so I bought them. 24 hours later, they fell off my face and they shattered in the parking garage.
Did you have some kind of insurance?
No, I took them back to the store and they would not replace them for me.
What? That is crazy story.
Crazy. And that's what kind of started there has to be a website that offers specifically narrow fit. There has to be a better option that I just don't know about, because I didn't have the real need. I was wearing the kids' Ray-Bans or whatever, and that was kind of embarrassing, but I wasn't wearing them every day. In Miami, you're wearing them every day. And without being able to find the solution I was looking for, I really just decided who better to build it than me.
I love it. So you answered my next question where that spark, and it sounds like it happened here when you had that experience, and you're like, I'm gonna make a better experience for people, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, that was the aha moment.
And eyewear is such a saturated category, yet your brand really stands out. What makes Memory different, and why is it resonating now?
There's two main things that make us different. First is that narrow fit. We are the only brand in the world that is exclusively designing for that narrow fit, because there's so many elements to it. Like, fitting your glasses really is like fitting your jeans. It's not just the waist, it's the length, it's the thigh. There's really 3 points of measurements that have to hit for the perfect pair of glasses. It's the nose, it's this length behind the ear, and it's also the width of the frame. You need all 3 of those things to line up. So even within my lane of a niche of narrow fit, there's still so many different size options for that. So the fact that I'm speaking to people that are like me, who've never been able to find the fit, and I'm like, hey, I designed these for you. That's what makes us different, number one. And then number two is, so many of, you said it's an oversaturated market. There are a ton of eyewear brands out there, but it's really tricky. It's like you have the illusion of choice.
Right.
But 60% of what's on the market is made by the same company.
Got it. And I think maybe a lot of people don't realize that.
I think they don't realize that at all. When you go to Sunglass Hut is owned by one company, and they also make every single pair of glasses in Sunglass Hut.
So everything
Prada,
you see,
it's all a license.
Right.
So of course the Miu Miu looks just like the new Kate sunglasses because they're made by the same team. So there is a feeling that it's oversaturated. There's so many brands, but really the amount of people doing something really cool and new and making in small batches like we do, truly in Italy, like we even tumble the acetate for days with oil, like we do it all the old-fashioned way.
But that's beautiful though, like that's what we should be doing. Like that's what makes the product like really good quality, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the sad reality is it's becoming a lost art. There's not a lot of brands doing that at all. So when you look at, not only are we narrow fit, but we're actually artisanal, we're very different than a lot of the other brands on the market, and there is a customer that really appreciates that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. No, thanks so much for sharing that, and that's a great answer as well. And you've talked about the power of pop-ups and meeting your customers in person, and that's kind of what you're doing here now during Art Basel.
Yes.
What is that connection? So why is that connection so key for your brand and also like other brands like yours that are more niche?
I think especially in eyewear, because it is like one or two huge brands that own so much, there are so few eyewear brands where you actually get to meet the owner and like put a face to the name. There's only about 15 women in the US total who own an eyewear brand outright, and I'm one of them.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. Congratulations.
It's awesome, but it's also sad.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's true. It is sad, but it's a huge accomplishment though.
I see now why there aren't more. It is not a picnic. But yeah, getting to do the pop-ups, eyewear is something people love to touch and feel in person. You do want to try it on. And it's so fun whenever I'm at the pop-ups and I get to meet somebody that are like, oh my God, glasses never fit me. And these do. And then I do the same event maybe every 6 months. And then those clients that I met 6 months ago come back with their friends. And they're like, I would never wear anything else now that I found this. Like, that's the best part.
Yes, no, I think that's amazing. And I think also that connection is more important than ever now in an age of AI, right? Because you don't know what you're getting, really, right?
Yeah.
And it is very, like, you don't get that personal feel. I think with sunglasses, it is important to try them on.
Yes.
Because I feel like most of the time when you order something without that, you'll send it back, right?
You will. And look, I know that because whenever I built this company, I said, for me, as somebody who never trusted an eyewear brand, what would it have taken for me to buy online? I would need free shipping, free returns, and I would need some testimonials, and I would need them to be priced a little less than what a fair price would be.
Right.
So like our glasses, if they're truly made, we never make more than 100 of a pair. Other brands, like if you look at Jacques Marie Mage, they also limit their batches. They do 500 or less. Their glasses are between $800 and $2,200 a pair.
That's a lot. I mean, that's...
It's insane. Yeah, I would never pay that. But they are beautiful, and for somebody who's really looking to splurge, like, I do think they're worth the money.
You lose them. Like, you could lose them so easily, you know?
Yeah, leave them in the Uber, whatever it might be.
Kids break them, you know, all kinds of stuff happens. So.
Yeah, but when you do put your prescription in, then you have a higher chance of not losing it.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And we all know that the fashion world unfortunately struggles still with inclusivity, especially when it comes to small shapes and sizes and big shapes and sizes and all kinds of, you know, conventional things. What message is behind designing specifically for small faces?
There's a couple. The first one is that you don't have to settle for kids. That's the number one thing that people just wear kids' glasses. Like, would you tell me to wear a kid's bathing suit or kids' makeup? No. And especially on your face. Like, that is when you're meeting somebody for the first time and they look at you through your eyes and they make your first impression. Do you want to be wearing anything less than something you're confident in, right? And no matter what your height or your size, you deserve that confidence that comes with wearing a beautiful pair of frames. The reality is, like, I was working in buying for a huge retailer before I started Memory, and the reason there's not more size inclusive options on the market is because they just don't sell fast enough.
Okay, so and they have to get, like, the seasons and, you know, like, that's...
So I do understand, like, from a profitability standpoint, the complexity, and we are doing narrow fit, and right now really only narrow fit, which still fits 40 to 60% of people very well, but we're not expanding because I really believe in doing that the best. And I also kind of have the curse of knowledge and working with all these retailers that if I try to do everything, it's gonna fail. You can't please everybody. But I think it is kind of up to the customers a little bit more to hold the big brands accountable and say, okay, you're doing a $50 million Art Basel activation and you can't have a size extra large? Like, you know?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, no, that's a great answer. And now let's talk a little bit about your personal style. You always look so polished and distinctive like today.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
How has it evolved alongside your founder journey?
Before I became a founder, I wasn't spending much time at vintage events. Now, a place that I sell a lot and do pop-ups at are in alignment with, like, very high-end designer vintage shopping events.
Love that.
And so, along with that has been shopping more like archival pieces. And, like, I did go to school. I learned how to do fashion design. I was working in menswear. I've always had an appreciation. But now that I have all of this incredible vintage under one roof at my fingertips, I've noticed that my designs now have a little bit more of, like, a vintage influence.
I love that. I mean, I feel like vintage is kind of timeless, right?
It is. And generally, it's the best quality. And they didn't cut any corners because they didn't really have the luxury like we have today of as much mass production.
Right.
So making things extra special was par for the course, where now it's like such a rarity.
Yeah, that's too bad, but it looks like you're bringing it back, which is amazing.
Thank you.
And we just talked a little bit about design. It takes such a strong sense of visual taste. And how has your own aesthetic influenced Memory's style and design, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think if I had to encapsulate my personal style, I don't want to, like, I don't know, it's weird to label yourself, but I would call it, like, elegant with an edge. Like,
I love that.
Something where it's pretty timeless, but there's a fun little unexpected twist. So when I design our glasses, I really try to think about, okay, what is something that is not going to go out of style? It's not trend focused. From far away, it looks like a timeless everyday item, but when someone gets closer, they're like, oh, what is that engraving? And
yeah, there's like little details.
Yeah, the small, elegant details and just a little bit of edginess where it's very clear that it's rare and it's different and a lot of thought went behind it, but it's still not hard to style.
Right. No, I love that. That's great. And launching, let's talk a little bit about craftsmanship that goes behind all these things. And I know that you make your products in Italy, and it's these little handmade details and the small batch drops. Why was this so important to you? And how does it reflect your values?
So I am the kind of person where if I am going to do something, I want to do it the best. And like Cuban cigars, Swiss watches, there are regions that are known for inventing or doing something the best. Italy invented modern day eyewear.
Yes.
So I knew if I was going to do an eyewear company, it had to be Italy. Shout out to Japan. Japan also makes amazing glasses.
That's what I hear. Yeah, I hear that's like kind of like not many people know. But yeah, they make really good eyewear and jeans too.
Excellent, because Japanese have such an appreciation for the details and for fine quality. Like from their sushi to their denim to their titanium, they do a really beautiful job. I don't speak any Japanese. I would love to one day onboard a Japanese partner. But anyways, long story short, I knew it had to be Italy. And because Italy makes the best, the more I peeled back the layers and I started going to all of these factories and really trying to find my partners, it's a dying art in Italy. Why? Because now everybody's outsourcing to China.
Oh my gosh.
And there's loopholes in the laws where if you make the glasses in China, but it's just a front frame with 2 legs and the legs aren't attached, and then you ship that to Italy and you put the last screws in,
You could say
in Italy,
it's made in Italy?
you can say it's made in Italy.
Wow, that is like a loophole.
It's a loophole and it's deceiving. And like nothing frustrates me like somebody taking advantage of someone's culture for profit.
Right.
And then cutting out that culture. So these big brands are claiming made in Italy. It sits in a warehouse in Italy for a week for customs. They put the last screw in. And in the meantime, all of these Italians have lost their jobs while they're hiking up the prices and raising their profits by just taking advantage of the great reputation that's been built in Italy over centuries.
Right.
So I knew from the beginning, I'm not doing any hybrid production. I'm doing everything 100% in Italy, and I've stayed true to that.
That's great. No, I think, we need more of that to keep those traditions and stuff
We do.
in place. And as someone who really values aesthetics and ethics, and also, all of these things that we just chatted about, how do you balance style and also sustainability?
So, kind of great design and not cutting any corners on quality often goes hand in hand with sustainability. Usually, the best material option also happens to be the more sustainable option. So, for example, all of our plastic is a bio-based, it's called a cellulose acetate or a bioacetate. So it's actually made from cotton and wood pulp versus like a Lego, which is injection molded plastic, is made with a base of petroleum. So that's an easy one. I want the best plastics. Okay, it's going to be sustainable. Any chance I get, I do the most sustainable option. Like our factory, we use solar panels. We recycle the water that's used to cool down the machinery. I make responsible choices, but anybody who really, truly believes and is trying to make educated choices to save the environment knows that the answer is not in buying new things.
Obviously, yes.
It's in reusing and reducing your consumption, eating less meat, all of those things. So I didn't set out to make the most sustainable glasses brand because I want to make the best glasses.
Right.
And it's the most sustainable thing to make something that people are really going to enjoy for 10 years and they're not constantly replacing versus just make something because it's sustainable. And nowadays, people claim sustainability, it's all greenwashed. Like,
exactly.
You look at vegan leather. Okay, you're just making money off the buzzword vegan. It's actually super toxic to the environment, and there's warning labels on it because of the levels of cancer-causing material, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with making something beautiful and not having your number one priority be only the most sustainable material. If it was the most sustainable, they'd be wood. And
yes, exactly.
Nobody wants to wear that.
No.
I don't want cardboard glasses. Like,
no.
Yeah.
No, that's a great answer. And what has been your proudest, like, this is awesome moment so far in building Memorí?
Probably the Bethany Frankel moment. I don't know if you heard anything about that, but basically...
No, tell us about that.
I was at an in-person event, and I knew Bethany Frankel was going to be there, and I had seen on TikTok, this was like right when all of the chicken salad videos were blowing up, she was wearing these glasses that did not fit her. They were way too big at the nose, they were way too wide, and I was like, she would look so good in my glasses. So I did a deep dive, I analyzed her face shape, and I grabbed a pair of our black cat eyes, which is super flattering and like kind of the pair that started it all. And I pitched her and I said, hey Bethany, I have something that you're gonna love. Can I give you a gift? And she was like, what is it? I was like, they're glasses. They're designed for an oblong face. They're gonna look great on you. And I gave her the bag and that was it. And I said the word oblong because in one of her own videos, she described her own face as oblong. So a little tip for their founders, like everybody wants to get their product on a celebrity.
That is
talk like
very
the celebrity.
bold, and that's a great tip.
Yeah,
Kari.
like I would never go up to somebody and label their body or their face shape unless they had first called it to themselves.
Yes.
But that's what made it click for her. She's like, oh, I have an oblong face. Okay, great. And then she basically did a whole review of them. And she asked me for nothing. It went super viral. It pushed my business to the next level. I was at a wedding in Colombia and my phone starts blowing up with orders. And I'm like, what's going on?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I can't tell her enough, like, how much I appreciate her support and, you know, women helping women. Just like a small business owner who had, I approached her and people were like, wow, like, you're really brave. But I believed in my product. I knew that we had the best possible quality, and I knew from her content that she would be able to clock it right away, and she did.
Amazing. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
And what advice do you have for anyone who's been sitting on a business idea but hasn't taken it to the next step yet? Or the first step? Any step?
You know, the hardest part of starting my whole business was deciding to go all in and do it, I would say. Like, really looking back, that was the most stressful. Like, okay, it's gotten to this point and now I have to quit my security blanket of my 9-to-5. After that, it just becomes like survival mode and you have momentum and you keep it going. But I would also say, like, make sure you're not starting a business for the wrong reasons. Like, if your parents were an entrepreneur and you want to be an entrepreneur, that's the wrong reason. Like, you have to really believe in your bones that what you're doing is going to solve a problem for a lot of people, because that's the kind of drive that gets you through. Because it is a roller coaster.
1000%.
There are months where I cannot believe how I've pulled it off, and there are months where I'm like $38 from bankruptcy. Like, it is a wild swing. And it is that just like honest delusion that what you're building is so important that pushes you through. And like, you really have to have that. Like, you have to be all in 100%. This idea is worth all of my time, my money, my energy. And if you don't feel that way, go and work in the industry that you want to start in, get some experience, and poke holes in your business idea. Because the idea can wait. If you're not all in, I would say don't do it.
I think that's amazing advice, Kari. And now let's talk about the shoes. Did you bring a pair of shoes?
Of course.
Let's check them out. I'm really excited.
So obviously I've watched your show before. I don't know if you know this brand, Casa Lily.
Yes, I know.
You do?
She was on the show.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my God.
I didn't know
she's
that.
Gonna love that.
I didn't know she was on.
Cynthia.
Yeah, I didn't know Cynthia was on the
right
show.
there, one of the ladies. Yes, she was on the show. Oh my God, Cynthia. We'll tag her.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, these are really beautiful red pumps, and they have this little cool wave there. And she was telling us this story behind that in her podcast. So if you haven't heard her episode.
Oh, I didn't even watch that podcast episode. But yeah.
She was on like episode 7 or like really in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. So funny. Okay, well here I was thinking that I was going to impress you with this new cool brand. You're ahead of me.
But tell me the story, and how did you find out about this brand? And is there a special story that goes along with these beautiful red pumps?
Well, I brought these because it's Art Basel Week, and it kind of ties back to my whole aesthetic of elegant with an edge, because I think that's totally what these are. A little unexpected detail that people don't notice. And that's really what I appreciate about this pair. I'm like, come on, Miami Art Week, it's gotta be a red stiletto. But I just love so much that Cynthia is also a female founder, bootstrapped, and I was
women supporting women.
Women supporting women. I was not going to bring a pair of shoes onto the show that was owned by some big conglomerate. Life is too short to do that. I think
that's great.
Anything.
And they're beautiful. They're really hot, the shoes.
They're hot and they're comfortable. This holds my heel so well. So yeah, I had to just give Cynthia a shout out. She has a lot of styles that I would recommend you check out. CasaLily.com.
Yeah, and I think it's all the classics like red, black and beige, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, and maybe she has like silver and gold. And
I did see she just dropped a burgundy, which is like the hot color right now.
I love that. Yeah, that is a hot color right now. So awesome. Well, let's do this quick round of fire round of this or that.
Sure.
Cat eye or square frame?
Cat eye.
Hampton pop-up or Milan factory visit?
Hampton pop-up, because at those I actually make money. Anytime I'm at the factory, money pours out of me.
Glasses case, leather or vegan?
Leather. And I do also want to note, a lot of people don't realize, like 99% of leather in the fashion industry is just a byproduct of the meat industry. So going back to sustainability, not just greenwashing, if you want to help the cows, you have to eat less meat. The leather is already made.
Right. That's a good point. Loud branding or subtle looks?
Subtle.
Corporate job or founder freedom?
Has to be founder freedom.
Obviously.
Like, health insurance is nice though.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. Personal fit or mass appeal?
personal.
I like that.
Yeah.
Head down grinding or high visibility storytelling?
These days, if you're working in fashion, it has to be visual storytelling, I think. It's just the best way to hack into, tap into your audience.
Yeah, 1000%. Italian espresso or green juice at a pop-up?
Espresso.
Yes. Face-to-face convo or digital DM?
Face-to-face, always.
Love
preferred.
it. Agreed. Designing alone or brainstorming with a team?
With a team.
Yes, I love that. Well, Kari, thank you for reminding us that the best brands come from solving problems that matter personally. And your story proves that success isn't just about fitting into the industry. It's really about making space for yourself and those who've been overlooked, which is really amazing. To all of the listeners, if you've ever been told your niche is too small, your idea is too specific, or your dream is too different, this episode is your permission to slip to build that anyway, because if you're really into it, you should go for it.
Completely agree. Solve that problem, make a business out of it.
Love it. And because when something finally fits, whether it's a business, a pair of sunglasses, or your place in the world, you'll just know it in your gut, right?
You'll feel it. When you know, you know.
Yes. And that moment, that's when the magic starts. This was so amazing.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there's one last thing that I'm gonna ask you is to pick out a pair of shoes from here that
Ooh.
represent you, and then we'll take a nice Polaroid for one for you and one for us.
Okay. Sounds great. I like these called Gaia ones.
Well, since you're from fashion, you know all of them. You know all of the shoes.
Oh, let's go Gucci. I haven't seen these Gucci before.
Oh my god, you know what's interesting? The guest before you picked those too.
No way.
Yes, those same ones. So, and nobody's ever picked them before.
Yeah.
Which is like they're having their moment right now, which I love.
Gucci's Italian, has this beautiful embroidery.
Yeah, I feel like those are so timeless.
Yes, and fun. Learning and figuring it out. Like next year, I'm not going to do a 4-day activation. I think that was a little too bold.
That is very bold.
Yeah.
And that's a big commitment. So, I'm sure you'll get a lot of ROI back from it. So.
It's live and learn. You try something, do more what works, less than what doesn't.
Well, you're wearing the color of the year. What is it like?
Pantone cloud something.
Cloud something, but you have like the whole cloud. I love that vibe. Amazing.
Thank you. It's the color of the morning.
Yes. It's always in, I feel like, right?
Yeah. The white after Labor Day is not a thing.
Never a thing anymore.